just learning at some point, but Magic Online is currently down, so I'm going to just leave their Twitter page open, and hopefully I'll be alive at some point. Lead on Sapphire here. Take a hit from this Valiant Escort here. Evaporate is basically unsummon. It lets us return a troop to their hand. At the end of turn, if they play something bigger, we'll return that. Yeah, so we'll just bounce their 2-drop here. And we can Light the Votives next turn. Can't spew tickets if Bodo is down, right? It's the real thinker. Alright, so we'll grab a diamond here. I'm going to go ahead and play Light the Votives. This is the card that may escalate. So the first time I play this, it makes 1/1/1. The second time I play it, it makes 2 1/1s. And after I play it, it puts itself back into my deck. So every time I play that card, I get an additional 1/1 troop here. Hey, we made fat dollar bills last night with the Tron deck. Went 3-2. And then, yep, that's fine, you have another Llama Herder. They're probably not going to attack with this, because trading their 2-1 for my 1-1 sounds pretty unappealing. It was up for a little while, we streamed yesterday, and then it's down again. So this card costs 3 to play, but it has a mechanic called Mobilize, so I can exhaust this troop I control to make it cost 2 less. And then we get to grab a non-resource from the top of our deck here, so we only have 1 non-resource. And this Runebind gains the ability Mobilize as well, so now this Mobilize will be able to play for free at some point by exhausting a troop. I'm going to go ahead and lead on Arcane Focus here. It's just going to look at the top 2 cards of my deck and then take 1. These are both resources, which is perfect for us. We did not finish the second league with Tron. That's the first thing we're going to do this morning as soon as Magic Online decides to be functional. So both these cards have a mechanic called Fate Weave, which kind of allows us to stack our deck, basically. So this card, Fate Weaves, and lets me draw a card. So I'd kind of like to draw a non-resource. So I'm going to stack a non-resource on top of my deck, and then it lets me draw. And then I would like to guarantee my 4th resource drop next turn. So when I play this Ice resource out, I'm going to Seek Fortune to put another resource on top of my deck. It's kind of sweet. You get to adds a lot of consistency. Adds a lot of consistency to your game. It's nice. Hex uses a lot of the digital design space to reduce variance that games like Magic and Hex and, you know, Hearthstone and Eternal tend to have, as opposed to making it worse. Alright, sweet. It's alive again. So we're going to finish this match, and then we will play some Tron. William Rowan, sure. Yep. So this lets them exhaust these other things to make this larger. So I'm going to go ahead and play this Runebind for free, mobilizing my troop. And what the Runebind does is it turns my opponent's troop into a mysterious rune, which leaves it off to the side of the table. It's a constant, kind of like an enchantment, and it stays this constant until my opponent draws a, until they draw a resource. Go on, just focus here. I don't think I really need to evaporate anything this turn. Hey, Jacob. Grab this Trial of Totems. Generates a 4-cost troop for us. That's going to be extra big. Yeah, you could do that. You could prevent it from putting it into the deck. But I'd rather just preserve my life total. He's pretty unlikely to be able to. Look, the more I play Modern, the less I want to try and work for my things. Alright, Decree of Banishing, sure, so they're gonna exile my Candlekin here. They get to attack us for 5 here. And when William Rowan attacks here, so when William Rowan comes into play, he creates a dog called Rowan and puts it into my opponent's deck. And every time Rowan attacks, he moves this card up in their deck. And eventually, if he moves it up to the top, he flips it into play for free. So the deck that we're playing is kind of a combo control deck. We kind of tread water until we play this card called Psychic Ascension that gums up the ground for our opponent. Ooh, that's a quick troop. Alright, I'm going to play this out. So, Hex, like Magic, has a chain where you can respond to things. So, this card has the quick subtype, so we can play this inside of combat after my opponent attacks. There you go, kiddo. So, attack me with your dog. Your William Roan. Don't put a dog into play, sweet. Before block, so I'm going to flash in this Lightning Brave. Martyr. So this is going to void my thing and give me a Monument to the Martyr, which makes all my things 2/2s, or +1/+1. I think I'm okay with that. I could evaporate this to save it. But I think I'm actually okay with it making all of my troops larger, because I'm going to have a lot of troops here at some point. So yeah, I'm just going to take this hit for 5. Yeah, I'm going to take this hit for 5. And then at the end of his turn, I think I'm going to send his largest troop back to his hand with Evaporate. Ardent Crusader lets them Fate Weave, probably stack a resource on top of their deck. And then I'm just going to go ahead and Evaporate this Dorko. Don't hit my keyboard, Brett. I'm letting you sit on my lap. Don't abuse the privilege. Yeah, you're Brett. Alright, let's Heart's Whisper here. Try and find some resources, or non-resources that are useful. Sweet, Light the Votives. So this is the second time we've played this card now, so this makes 2 1/1s, which then get boosted by my opponent's Monument of the Martyr here. And then I'm going to go ahead and play Arcane Focus here. Look at the top 2, take 1. I would love a Silver Talon Adjudicator. So this is a fantastic control card. Silver Talon Adjudicator says, if I have less life than my opponent, I get to gain 5 life. And if I have less cards in my hand than my opponent, I get to draw 2 cards. So probably not going to have less cards than my opponent, because they're almost out of cards. But I'm definitely going to have less life than my opponent here. B? You're Brit. B. Yeah. Frostlock. Oh, that's gross. So this voids 3 of my cards. So they're going to take my Candlekin and my Monument to the Martyr away. And we're going to be under a lot of pressure here, because they get to attack us for 5 again. Alright, well, I was feeling good. Down to 8. This is going to at least gain us back to 13. I have no idea. I think it's bad against these mid-range aggro decks. I think it's worse against decks like Ardent than the traditional Psychic Ascension list is. I think it might be better against the field. And post-board, we board into like a traditional deck. Like when we have Clashes of Steel in our deck, and we'll have Clashes of Steel and Dark Hearts post-board, which are just like insane against the deck my opponent's playing. No, it was back for a little bit, and then it went down again. I think it just came. It just came back up. So after this match, we're gonna play some. We're gonna try on some people. Miss the dog, miss the dog, miss the dog. Sweet. Alright, so I get to go ahead and block this here. Yeah, I know it's back, but I'm not throwing away this ladder match because I care about my rank. I want Thunderfield Seer or Transmogrifade? I think I want Thunderfield Seer. Let me mobilize this next one. We take 4 here. If we had Psychic Ascension this turn, we might be okay. Or another, even just another Escalate spell, honestly. Oh, they get to bring William back to their hand. Their Champion Power returns a 2-cost troop from their discard pile to their hand. Alright, let's start on this. Normally we do Hex after Magic, but Magic Online was down this morning. Alright, so I can play this out. So this Trial of Totems gives me a random 4 cost that's bigger, so it's probably better than Silver Talon Adjudicator. Ooh, we hit a Light the Votives. Alright, I think I want to just Light the Votives here because it gives me 3 bodies to block with. It's going to let me block a lot of this stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and Cosmic Calling here. Hopefully this finds me out something useful. Sweet. Transmogrifade is decent. Transmogrifade is... This card has some variance to it, but on average, it's pretty powerful. It takes their troop and turns it into a random artifact constant troop with -1 cost, so it kind of downgrades one of their things. Maybe I was supposed to transmog the llama herder there before it made a llama. That's really possible. Another decree banishing, sure. Yep. 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 Transmog the Rowan. Yeah, I guess there's 2 of those in their deck, right? I don't want to mobilize anything here. Yeah, I think transmogging the Rowan seems reasonable. Yeah, sweet. I really like Hex's current standard format. Their standard format is just, like, consistently excellent. So, it's got that going for it. That kind of sucks. Alright, so... Play my 5/4. Play my Silver Talon Adjudicator. It's unfortunate they're able to play out their last card. I don't know, maybe... I think Kelly Willybro there might have been a little loose, because, like, this thing is just... Every time this thing untaps, it makes another 2/2 for them. I don't think so, Pimped Up Monk. So the paper magic streams take 3 or 4 times as much work to produce as a Magic Online stream, and they're less popular. People are less interested in watching paper magic than they are watching Magic Online because paper magic is harder to follow. No, you don't get to draw 2. You only get to draw 2 if your opponent has more cards than you. So you only gain life if you have more life than them. If they have more life than you only draw cards if they have more cards than you. So, it was just a 3/2 flyer that gained 5 there. And this is... So normally, like I said, like... And Burgle, this is why I think this build of this deck is fine. Like, we're halfway into our deck here without a PA, and we're still in this game. And, like, if we had a Psychic Ascension, we'd bury our opponent here. Alright, so how are we attacking? Yeah, I think I'm going to do this, and then trade here, and then jump here. This gets rid of this. Then we're just, like, hoping to hit, like, a Heart's Whisper or a Psychic Ascension into some good actions. We are dead on board if we just brick here, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nope, not quite dead on board, but close. Alright, well, there's a brick. So, almost dead. Not completely dead, but mostly dead. Only 3 triggers. Like, it's pretty likely that they miss Rowan on 3 triggers. And also, like, they had this card. If they didn't have a Frostlock in their deck, we'd have been in a better spot, too. Like, most of these decks don't play this card. So, like, their slightly odd card selection choices have helped them this game. Alright, another resource means we're dead. So, post board. Yeah, Heart's Whisper into Psychic Ascension plus other action would have been great there. Alright, so Dark Heart. Dark Heart is a customizable card, so during reserving, when we bring him in here, we get to choose some customizations for him. So I'm choosing to give him +2 defense and what's called the Hope Gem, so the turn we draw him, he costs 2 less. Clash of Steel is excellent. Transmogrifade is excellent. I wonder if I want Shard Ward just as like a fog for their diamond attack for the turn. Evaporate's pretty mediocre. I think this is just a Light the Votives Cosmic Calling out matchup. It's like I said, basically turned into Sapphire Diamond control. I'll leave a couple Cosmic Callings in, or bringing in some extra troops, something like this. Like I said, I think this matchup's pretty reasonable for us on average, especially post-reserves when we get, Hey! Pytherion2992. Thank you for the Twitch Prime support. I do appreciate it. Welcome. Shard Ward does prevent combat damage. It prevents all damage from all things of the color that you pick. This hand's pretty great. So Trial of Totems, we'll get to play this on 2, and then we'll have a Fatty to play out on 3 for a bit. And then depending on how much removal they have, they'll just hold on the board for a little while. I'm going to guarantee a resource here. We really just want to guarantee like our first 5 resource drops in this deck. Morning, Rollick. I'm going to play this Diamond Shard out so we can play this Trial of Totems this turn. Awesome, congrats. Alright. So, Trial of Totems generates a random 4-cost troop for us and then makes it larger. We got a Royal Harbor, so this is a 5/5 with Steadfast for 3. Good rate. Put this resource out. And now we've hit plenty of resources, so our next couple of Fate Weaves are definitely going to be for non-resources. 5/5 for 3 is pretty huge, especially with Steadfast. It'll allow us to pressure our opponent a little bit as well. Wise Magistrate, that card's really annoying. So whenever we play a non-resource, all other non-resources in our hand get +2 costs until end of turn. Alright, there's the Psychic Ascension, good and early. That's nice. So you can see all of these got plus cost temporarily. I'm going to put a non-resource on top of this. So the cards we draw for the turn won't be increased cost. That's nice. You got a Transmogrifade to deal with this dork. Yep, Steadfast is Vigilance. A lot of the keywords make sense. So that's what, like this little icon here, the eye means that it has Steadfast. So there's little symbols that appear on things based on whatever keywords that they have. I think I need to Transmogrifade this turn. I'd kind of like to Cosmic Calling, but if I leave this around for another turn, my stuff's going to get more expensive on my turn again, which is bad for us. So I think just like taking out this annoying little Hate Bear would be good. So their Crusader here, this is another customizable card for them. They get to Fate Weave when it comes into play, and when this dies, they get 2 Phantoms, which are 1/1 flyers. And again, like, we have the board pretty well locked down with our 5/5, so it's just going to buy us a lot of time to take over the game. Transmogrifade, their annoying card. It's turned into a 4/4 with Lethal. It's above the curve for a 1-drop. I'm starting a Heart's Whisper. Another Trial of Totems is decent. Unfortunately, our Dark Heart Gem backfiring on us a little bit. This card is only cheaper until end of turn. And we can't play it out this turn because we don't have enough resources left. Declan Scott, stop attacking your brother. We're still in a decent spot here. The Dark Heart's probably going to be pretty good. Let's see what they want to attack with here. They're probably shipping in with this to see if they attack with that too. Yeah, I'm just going to take this hit for 4 here. I'm going to Cosmic Calling at their end step. So get to look at the top 3 cards of our deck and grab a non-resource out of them when we get that card mobilized. Clash of Steel is exactly the card we were looking for. So Clash of Steel says each of us choose 1 card we control, and then the rest of them get voided, which is kind of like exiling them. So I'm going to keep my 1 troop. Ooh. So this is, it's trying to interrupt my card, but I'm going to go ahead and Runebind their card here, which turns it into a Mysterious Rune and slides it off to the side. So again, it says a lot of back and forth. And then this Clash of Steels is just going to get rid of this, probably. They're probably going to keep their Ardent Crusader. They might keep this Terror of the Blightbark, but we'll see. We haven't played a resource yet this turn, so we're going to Heart's Whisper and Fate Weave for a resource to guaranteed hit that 6 resource drop this turn. Opponent has to pick one of their things. They know which one I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick this guy, my only one. Alright, yep, and they kept their Crusader. Go ahead and play this Heart's Whisper. And you can see, Psychic Ascension is the card here that keeps ticking down in my hand. Every time we play an action, this card gets cheaper. And then... Hi, Declan. Thank you for coming in here instead of attacking your brother. It's in a pretty good spot. Opponent's down to 3 cards. We're still at 21. We're going to ascend here shortly. They have a Silver Talon Adjudicator. That's pretty good. And wow, they're actually at lower life than us because we hit them once. So they got a 3-2 that drew 2 cards and gained some life. That's pretty decent. So we take a small hit here. Go ahead and play this Trial of Totems out. Get another 4-drop. Yeah, it essentially delays the card until they draw lines. Exactly what it does. Another Runebind, huh? So I've got 6 cards. They have 4. I don't think I can empty my hand out. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and play Psychic Ascension here, which changes my champion. And what Psychic Ascension does is it kind of turns the game into a game of Momir Vig for just me. So every time I play an action now, I'm going to generate a random troop with the same cost as that action. And basically we'll just overwhelm our opponent with a lot of like draft-leaving quality troops, but we're getting them for free, so they're very reasonable. They have Cosmic Calling in their deck too. Neat. Opponent's build is kind of interesting. No, I don't really like Limited in general. I don't care for Limited in Magic, and that kind of carries over to Hex. I draft on occasion. I draft if the format is something I enjoy, but I don't really care for this current format. It's like, I don't care for most Limited formats either, so that's not really a knock against Hex. Our board's pretty big. Thankfully, we're just going to have, like, infinite chump blockers here, because every time we play an action, we get a chump blocker, essentially. And sometimes... Ooh! We made a Light the Votives with our champion power, so that means we have an extra Light the Votives in our deck. Trial of Totems. I think I'm just not playing this out. If this is Valorous or Verdant, put back play. Yeah, I'm going to hold up this Frost Lock, this Frost Blast to kill their flying troop this turn, I think. Destroys an attacking troop and then lets me Fate Weave. Oh, you're right. We did board them out. That's funny. You're right. Yeah, I can look at my deck list on the side here. Yep, 10 out of 10 boarded them out. Alright, Frost Blast. And like my opponent's like trying to like go slow and grind me out, and like it's not gonna work out in their favor. Like Psychic Ascension is king of the long game. Yeah, I don't even really care if this gets countered at this point because we generated a flight troop with that. So block. And then yeah, I think they trade. Unfortunately, with Cosmic Calling here, there aren't any 3-cost Sapphire Diamond troops, so this doesn't actually generate a troop under Psychic Ascension. Sure, Cosmic Calling. You're very loud, Declan. I'll take a Guidance. I would like a resource at this point. Yeah, we drew one, that's fine. Cleanse, revert all cards. I don't actually want to do that because my cards are more powerful. So revert changes it back to their base stats, so like it would get rid of the bonus on this card. Let me go ahead and play this Dauntless. And then I'm just going to play the Silver Talon Adjudicator, which they're at more life than me. It doesn't draw cards, but it gains me some life, which is what I need at this point. It's also going to block their Adjudicator in the air. And again, we're just going to kind of go super wide and then punch through at some point. Yep. They're giving it the old college try here. If we got Frostlock, they might actually be able to punch back through, but I think if they don't have Frostlock like exactly this turn, they're gonna be in a lot of trouble. And like if we hit like another Clash of Steel, we'll recover from a Clash of Steel with Psychic Ascension, and their board's just not gonna recover from a Clash of Steel. So that's ideally what we would like here. Ooh. Draw any number of cards. I like drawing any number of cards. We need one more resource for that. Let's draw a resource here. Ooh. Ooh. A piece of candy. How many cards is any number of cards? What's the correct number of any number of cards? There's 36 cards in my deck. Yeah, probably like 14 or so is right. I should probably play these two things out. I'm gonna wait a turn on the absolute power and play these out so that way we discard slightly less good things. 34. any number of cards you say. Do you need help setting that up? Help. Okay. There's your rug town. There you go. Yep, you have another Crusader deal. Judge! Hoagland refused to draw cards. I don't understand. Oh, I have to sacrifice a non-selected thing, sure. That gives me an 8/8. I mean, it costs 8. I think like 15 cards here is good. Just leave 20 cards in my deck. I'm just looking for a Clash of Steel, basically. We have 2 more of those. Are we going to miss? We're going to miss on another Clash of Steel, aren't we? That's funny. It's like, we want this one. There's one thing we want. You can't have it. Oh. Let's go ahead and play this Light the Votives. Alright, well, let's discard a bunch of stuff. These transmogs are probably fine. I probably actually want these transmogs to clean up these Ardent Crusaders. So, like, I can play these Dark Hearts out and then transmog these Crusaders to make them sacrifice more. And the Dark Hearts are basically just going to overwhelm them at some point. Cosmic Calling, sure. We're trying to avoid Frostlock at this point. I guess if they had a Frostlock this turn, we could maybe be in trouble. Frostlock is a 6-cost enchantment that voids 3 of my things. They did not find it. I'm going to start on this, see if we find a Clash of Steel. As if we find a Clash of Steel, we're casting that. Clash of Steel is the one that makes us each choose 1 card and then void the rest. We did not find it. Alright, let's play this Dark card out. Let's play this Thunderfield Seer out. Let's play the Sapphire Ice out. Put a resource on top of my deck. I'm gonna start attacking them with some of these things. Actually kill them. These Transmogrifade speed, if they chump block with Crusaders, we can start Transmogrifading them so they don't get things out of them. Because when these die, they get Phantoms. So, like, their line to win this game is, like, throwing these things under buses and then, like, putting flying troops out. So I'm gonna Transmogrifade this one before damage. Yep, you get a random other thing. So we crush over for a bunch. These dark cards being they're going to have to sacrifice 2 non-socketed things on their turn. Ah, I forgot to use my charge power. Whatever. This game's pretty over. And then we'll win game 3 in a similar fashion. Then we'll Tron some people. You're 3-0 in our current league with Green-White Tron. Yeah, that game was over a little while ago. They were just fairly dead. I think it's still contending with green-black. I'm not actually sure which of the two is better. Is there a Tron equivalent in Hex? No, they don't have anything that lets you get 7 resources on turn 3. It's weird. It's almost like they thought about things like that. I'd say it's decent. Dark Heart, we can't play this till turn 5, but that's fine. We've got an Arcane Focus to get some selection. We've got a Runebind to slow them down until we can get something going. Yeah, Matt likes the green-white build. That's why we were playing that last night. Ooh, Clash of Steel is fantastic. I'm going to use the Sapphire Ice to stack a resource on top of my deck to guarantee we get to 4 on time. Wise Magistrate's an obnoxious, annoying card. Looking for a Transmogrifade for that now. See all my other cards get more expensive until end of turn. Trial of Totems is actually an excellent hit here because Trial of Totems is quick, so I can play Trial of Totems on... I'm actually just going to Trial of Totems now because I don't want them... They should have saved Verdict of the Ancient Kings in their deck last game, and I don't want them to Verdict of the Ancient Kings us. Hey, look, we hit Lightning Brave again. It's a 5-4 quick, so hopefully he'll be able to ambush the Wise Magistrate in combat. Fate Weaving and Tron would be insane, right? Alright, there's their 4-4. Hopefully this lightning... Ooh, never mind. Alright, so again, dark hearts are cheaper the turn we draw them, so let's just play this 4-6 out for 3. And they're going to have to sacrifice a non-socketed card, so they'll sacrifice the Wise Magistrate here. This has sockets, so the dark heart can't make them sacrifice the Ardent Crusader. Baby, here's my giant artifact main witch here. The darkest of hearts. They have removal for this. We're gonna have another one coming up too. We can use this Runebind to turn this into a rune to make them sacrifice that to the dark heart, which feels good. Adjudicator, sure. Another Clash of Steel, that's decent. So, yeah, we just sit here and let the Dark Heart keep their board in check, basically, until we find a way to pivot and actually win the game. So they'll have to sacrifice the Silver Talon Adjudicator because it doesn't have sockets. There's hexmeta.com and Hex PvP tools. Hex posts every match that's ever played, so you can see any match that's played on their ranked ladder. They give us 100% of the data, which is truly enjoyable for someone like myself who's a data junkie. So if you enjoy data, Hex has all of that for you. I actually have an article on hexprimal.com, which I kind of pulled out the best performing deck lists from most recently. So there's a standard guide for... Alright, guidance is sweet. It's going to get us a resource so we can play this Dark Heart next turn. Like I said, it looks like we're winning this game. And then we'll be Troning people here in a second. If you're interested in learning more about Hex, though, you can check out my How to Hex article here. It's very similar to Magic, but it's fully digital. They have cash tournaments every weekend that you can play in client from your home, and they have larger cash tournaments that you qualify for by playing on their ladder, which is free to play. That happen every other month. So they're just trying to go wide around this Dark Heart, and the second Dark Heart is just going to bury them in... Actually... Oh, actually, we're just going to slaughter them, right? This is about to be really nasty. So... Do we Clash of Steel? Yeah, Hex has a full buy-sell trade secondary market. So... You can... sell out your cards afterwards. In fact, this ad that's above my head here, hexprimal.com, they're a third-party website. They're kind of like Star City Games or MTGO traders for Hex. When you're interested in building a deck, you just paste a deck list into a website and then pay cash for it. I can't even tell you if that's true or not because we don't have the data. We don't have the data from Magic Online. There's certainly more people that play Magic in the entire world than there are people that play Hex in the entire world. But compared to Magic Online, like the people that play Magic Online are a very small portion of the Magic player base. Well, they found a way to avoid my first Dark Heart, but my second one here is probably going to gobble them up. And we're still at a healthy enough life total that like taking this hit for 4 really doesn't matter. They have a Wise Magistrate they can play back out of their hand here again. But that doesn't really matter a whole lot. Alright, yep, you have a War Party Guide, so they can play Dork Dork here. And then I'm just going to play this other 4/6 back out. And this is why there's Dark Hearts in the board of this deck, for these mid-range aggressive decks. You think I want to Clash again there? I think I'd rather just play this Dark Heart and, like, Clash them again next turn. Alright. We're going to Runebind that. Which, again, takes it in turn to Mysterious Rune and slides off to the side, and then we Clash of Steel next turn to clean things up. So, again, play this Clash of Steel out. They get to keep one thing, and if they don't keep this, so they're kind of screwed either way here, because if they get rid of this, I get another Dark Heart back. Clash of Steel says each player chooses one card they control and then voids the rest, so I only have one card, so it's a convenient choice for me. And then my opponent kept this Decree of Banishing, but because they kept this Decree of Banishing, my Dark Heart says, hey, you're going to have to sacrifice that Decree of Banishing on your next turn. So, they were kind of like, damned if they did, damned if they didn't. Dark Heart says they have to sacrifice a non-socketed card every turn, so... Well, that was... This voids up to 3 things, so they got rid of both my Dark Hearts. Okay, so we kind of have a game, except for the fact where they have no cards, and I'm going to use my champion power here to draw 2 extra cards. Am I doing that? I think I'm actually waiting on that. I think I'm just using the Trial of Totems. I'm just going to put a bunch of pressure on the table. So this makes me another 3-drop. Alright, play Mazanya out. She has speed and crush. And when she attacks, she gives the troops in my hand Rage 1, which means they get bigger every time they attack. And this is quick, so I can wait to play this out. We're going to close this game out very quickly now. And then we're going to Tron some nerds. Because who doesn't love some good, clean Tron living? So I'll attack for 9, and then, you know, a little bit more than that. Let's start by drawing 2 cards with my Oracle Song. What did we get? Yay, Christmas presents. I love cards that draw more cards. It's basically all I want to do in life is, like, play cards that draw more cards. This deck's very good at that, which is why I enjoy playing this deck. Seek Adventure. Alright. So, we just drew cards that drew more cards. That's fine. That's fine. Like, look, our deck has 7 less cards in it than our opponents. And they're going to be dead in the sky to this next surge. They have to rip exactly a removal spell. And even then, like, I've got 4 cards left in my hand, and I still have a Zanya left over beating them down. Opponent says GG's opponent. Alright, let's try on some nerds. Yep, so that blocks on the ground. Alright, we're going to play a couple matches with Tron, and then I have this... Wait, that... My opponent's thing flies, sorry. Hold on. And it has Swift Strike, so it's actually kind of annoying. My opponent said GG's, and then played a card that meant they weren't dead. Alright, there's a Mysterious Rune. Alright. Now you're actually dead. Good. Alright, sorry. There, dead.